So in this HPE ALM Octane video, we're going to talk about testing and how we do root cause analysis within the pipeline view. So I'm starting the dashboard. I'll head over here to the pipeline module. You can see I already have a specific view or release selected within here, the Sanity CI cycle. This is a direct representation of what's stored within the Jenkins system. So we're doing a live pull of information within there. Any of the jobs are being represented in here, which means if any of the developers or anybody, the release team is actually adding additional testing or other jobs within that system, we will have direct visibility directly inside here. And that's a visual view of the stuff that's within Jenkins. I can also choose, if I have permission to, and I happen to for this example here, to run the pipeline. So I'll actually execute this directly from Jenkins. Now again, obviously most Jenkins systems are either going to kick off a build after a commit is done at the code level, or sometimes some organizations choose to have a scheduled build based on a certain time of day. In any event, we also have the ability to run that pipeline live in here, and you're seeing the results of this and the progress in real time within the environment. This is a very quick build here, so it won't take too long to see this information, but you'll watch it move down through the various jobs. The first package, and now the build is being done, and it begins to now test the build by running some unit tests inside here. Some of these unit tests are actually using the LeanFT product to facilitate a JUnit test. There's some test NG inside here, and I believe some NUnit tests as well. So we're actually showing the different test types. Ultimately, UFT tests could also be executed within this environment as we're walking through this process, so we can have a complete view of the regression process within the CI system itself. So now as this is completed, we can see the results. If I actually go to the Sanity CI cycle here, we have 7 things that have passed, 12 that failed, 2 that need attention. Now what I'm probably going to do from this QA perspective is actually choose to first analyze some of these failures. Now it's very possible, depending on where I am within my project, whether I'm doing certain types of continuous integration or delivery or agile or so forth, that this may not be a big deal for me at a certain part in the process. And so I can analyze this by going in and I can review what exactly occurred during that build process. So I'll expand in particular to regression, and you can see based on the status here, a number of these have failed. Some of them, if I click on the actual item itself, will show me the information that Jenkins is actually throwing back. Now, if this isn't enough detail for me, and we are grabbing this information on the right here where it says run test UI case F, we can actually drill directly in and open up Jenkins. And so we can actually go and view the results in more detail. It's the same messages we would have seen directly with inside of Octane itself. So as a QA person, if I don't have direct visibility or if I don't understand or care about this environment, I can continue to work inside the pipeline view over here. Now, based on some of this information, I may assess that this is actually some sort of a code error with my application. We're saying there's no such element exception. I may want to actually choose to report a defect, which I can also do inside here. And I'm reporting the defect within context, so it knows which ID of the actual run to connect it to. If this actual test is connected to another user story, that's also referenced automatically because we're connecting any of these related assets and maintaining that relationship behind the scenes. So by choosing to report a defect, I could say something like unit test during regression has a code error in the application. This is why we would do a test, is it looks like there may be a problem with our application itself. I'm going to say that there's a severity of high, and I'm going to choose to actually add this and maybe do an edit to see what other information we may want to connect to this. Again, it's the same defect record that we would have seen earlier on, and so I can review the relations that may be connected to this. So in this case here, the defect is connected to a run. The run in this case isn't really connected to anything else quite yet because we haven't connected the unit test to something of higher level of abstraction. We may not need to, depending on our process, but that option is there. If I wish to do that, I can add a link here, for example, and I can connect it to something else if I want to. But back here over at the pipeline itself, and actually I'll click over here to get back. Again, we have the ability very quickly here as a QA person or a QA member of our team to be able to review what happened during the build, see which passed, which failed, get additional information. You saw that we opened up Jenkins to get some of that additional depth. We may not care based on the portion of our development lifecycle. Very early in our build process, it's very normal to have some of these unit tests begin to fail. And that may be part of our process of building out the evolution of our assets. But we certainly know later in the lifecycle, this is where that communication framework becomes very important between QA and the rest of the team. This visibility helps us determine what needs to be done as far as a corrective action. Do we log a defect? What's connected to the defect? How do we prioritize that, and so forth? So it's very easy for us to be involved in that process, and it gives us a new set of information to help understand and to train what needs to be done within the testing and the remediation process. So that's a view of how we would do root cause analysis as a QA person on the team, reviewing what went on during the CI and the build process. Of course, as always, if there's any other additional information or help, we can always go to the Help Center on the top right.